Alright, today we're learning how to play the song Something in the Orange by Zach Bryan. A really cool song because it's a waltz strumming pattern. We're strumming in a 3/4 timing, and we're using an asymmetrical number of bars per part. So, really cool song to learn, just ukulele and just strumming and just cool stuff in general, right? So, it's two parts, it's a verse and a chorus. And let's start with the verse, right? And it is basically going to sound like this. So the count is really important, okay? There's really only 3 chords. Let's go over the chords first and we'll talk about the strumming pattern because I think that is the most important part. So we're going to start with E minor. This whole song is in the key of either E minor, G major. It's the same key just depending on how you look at it, right? But we're starting off with E minor, okay? So pointer finger is the 2nd fret on the 4th string, middle finger 3rd fret on the 3rd string, ring finger 4th fret on the 2nd string, okay? So we've got E minor. We're going to go to D major next, and we're going to talk a little bit about 2 different D major chord voicings. The first one is going to be 2, 2, 2, 5. The second one is going to be the more traditional D major chord voicing, which is 2, 2, 2, open. Same chord, just depending on how you want to finger it, right? And then the third chord for the verse is going to be G major, open, 2, 3, 2. All right, so E minor, D major, G major. Okay? Now, let's break the verse into 2 parts. The E minor starting part and the G major starting part. Okay? So when I say it's in a waltz, it's in 3/4 timing. What that means is we're counting to 3 for each time. 1, 2, and 3, and. That's going to be 1 bar. Okay? So our strumming pattern is going to be down, down, up, or a better way to communicate that is 1, 2, and 3, and, where the numbers are all down strokes. 1, 2, 3, and the word and, the strum in between those, would be an upstroke. 1, 2, and 3, and, or 1, 2, and 3. Okay? So we've got 2 bars of E minor first. 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1 bar of the D major chord. Then we make it to the G major chord. Okay? So this D chord is really almost acting as a transition between the E minor and the G major, okay? If that's too tricky for you to get to, just skip it and then just go right to the next chord. But it's really great to just kind of practice this, all right? So 1, 2, and 3, and 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 1, 2, and 3, and. Okay, so we have 2 bars of E minor, 1 bar of D major, and 4 bars of G major, right? So 2, 1, and 4. That adds up to 7. So that's what's kind of cool about this is it's an asymmetrical. Usually segments of songs, parts of songs are going to be an even number, usually like 4 or 8, something like that. So it's really cool that it's in 7. That kind of keeps it going, right? Now the reason that I'm using this D major instead of this D major is because I think it's easier to go from here to here to here. Even though some people might see this as a stretch, challenge yourself, it's going to be good for you. But also, it kind of sets you up a little bit better. And then it's going to have a different sound for this next part. This is going to be the second part of the verse, okay? Also going to be 7 bars, but now we're doing essentially the inverse. We're going to stay on G. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and G, 2, and 3, and 1, 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 2, and 3, and. So, instead of E minor twice, D, G 4 times, it's G twice, D once, and then E minor 4 times, okay? So the best way to count this musically is every time I go to a consecutive bar, I'm going to change the number of the first strumming pattern. So for example, if I'm saying on E minor, 1, 2, and 3, and 2, 2, and 3, and 3, 2, and 3, and 4, 2, and 3, and. That's generally how you'll count bars of music, right? Just that first number of the count is going to increase 1 until you switch, okay? So I think that's a better way to communicate how this is laid out. So we can just kind of start going, you know, when I count 2, 1, 4 in bars, it'll sound like this. So E minor, 1, 2, and 3, and 2, 2 and 3 and D, 2 and 3 and G, 2 and 3 and 2, 2 and 3 and 3, 3 and 3 and 4, 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 and 2, 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 and 2, 2 and 3 and 3, 2 and 3 and 4, 2 and 3 and... Right? So, I think it makes a lot more sense to break this into 2 chunks, even though you could say it's just one long chord progression where it's 2 bars of E minor, 1 bar of D, 6 bars of G, 1 bar of D, 4 bars of E minor. I think that makes less sense. It's harder to kind of like remember than the same 7 bar count just flipped, okay? So that's the entire verse, all right? Now you'll notice that when I went back from the G part, 1, 2 and 3 and 2, 2 and 3 and D, I use this chord voicing, right? I just think it gives it some variety. You can use whatever D major chord voicing you want in between there. I just like this there. It's a little easier for me to get from this chord to this chord to this chord, right? See how I've got, there's that G major, and then I'm gonna go to 2, 2, 2 open, and my ring finger is on the 2nd string. So I think that's easier to track my ring finger down from D to E minor in this way because I get to ride that string all the way down to the 4th fret and make that chord. Whereas if I'm going from here to here, I just think it's easier. They're just like little efficiency tips. You don't have to do it like this. This is just kind of how I like to, it's kind of how I like to do my E minor to G transitions, but it's up to you, okay? Now the chorus of the song, we're gonna add 1 chord, really easy chord, C major. This is gonna be it. The interesting thing about this, now we're going to a more traditional count where we have 4 chords and each chord is going to get 2 bars. All right? So again, we'll start with a C. We're going to do 2 bars of just this. So 1, 2 and 3 and 2, 2 and 3 and G, 2 and 3 and again, D, E minor. And that repeats the whole thing, right? So C once, again, G, D, E minor. We could do the second time around that other D major chord voicing. G, 2 and 3 and G, 2 and 3 and 1, 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 2 and 3 and. And that brings you back into the whole thing again, right? And then start it again. And then we go into the chorus, C, 2 and 3 and C, 2 and 3 and G, D, E minor, C, G, D, E minor. The very last part of the song, we just repeat the D to the E minor. Okay, so that's the entire song. Sounds really good, sounds great on a ukulele. Again, this is the Journey Instruments J-uke. It's on sale right now. It's a really great deal. So it comes with like an awesome gig bag too. So definitely if you don't have a uke or if you have maybe one of those like super flimsy cheap ukes, this could be a great one to upgrade to. I have an affiliate link in the description if you're interested. And let me know if you have any questions or comments. I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.